Hey everybody, welcome to Untitled. I am your host Kyle, and if you've been following along with me, you know I've been doing a series on budgeting. But today I'm not. I'm gonna switch it up, do something different. And I know some of you are probably like, thank God. But I get it, because it's tedious, it's boring. So today I'm gonna be talking about credit, more specifically your credit score. It's one of those topics that people talk about a lot, but people don't actually know a lot about. And I'd bet you that you know more people with less favorable credit than you do with people with good credit. A poor credit score can affect so much more than just your borrowing. It can affect your job opportunities, your rental opportunities, and even your love life. But what is a credit score? Your credit score or your credit history is just a measure of your credit worthiness. It's an extremely simplified present day rating of your ability to pay back a future debt. The better your score, the more borrowed money it seems you will be responsible with handling. That's why lenders will pull your credit information before they give you a loan or open up a new line of credit for you. So let's start no other place than hitting the like button so this channel can grow and I can make more videos more often. Now, but seriously, the Fair Isaac Corporation, or FICO, has been the industry standard for over 25 years. To the tune of 90% of lending decisions are made based off the FICO system, or should I say systems. That 90% means there's another 10% where other credit standards exist, but I'll get more into those in later videos. We're going to treat FICO as the head honcho, but then we have your three major credit bureaus, which is Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. These three credit bureaus collect all of your credit information. So all of your payments, any accounts open, any accounts closed, any late payments, and then they create a report that is based off of all of that data. Those reports and data are then collected by FICO and then summarized based on their own criteria that they've established, and that generates your FICO credit score. Hey there, it's Future Kyle here, yet again, just to clarify a little bit of what this past tense Kyle is talking about. Yes, I am more handsome and more wise than before, but you already knew that. So I just want to clarify that FICO doesn't actually collect that data. What actually happens is the credit bureaus pay FICO to use their systems and criteria to generate the credit score that lenders then use when they are pulling your credit information. I'm out of here. Ciao. But there's more than one FICO score and report, and at the time of this recording there are 19. And among those top three bureaus, they all use these different reports and scores in different ways. FICO has different criteria that they come up with, and they make revisions to those criteria. You have your base FICO and your industry-specific FICO. Your base FICO is looking at all of your credit history with no exceptions as to what it's interested in. But your industry-specific FICO is looking specifically at an industry, so it's more focused on anything that you're trying to get a loan towards. So you have a FICO auto score, a FICO mortgage score, and a FICO for revolving credit. So basically, your FICO is like a Lil Nas X song. There's going to be an original version, but there's going to be like 7 other versions that you haven't heard of yet. You can look at FICO as having revision control. Each revision happens every few years. So right now we're in revision 9, but there's been a 1 through 8 that happened before that. So different industries function better under different criteria. So mortgage criteria, for instance, utilizes older versions of FICO and not the newest version that comes out, such as revolving credit uses. So now for the good stuff, we're going to learn how to grow your credit score. And there's no better way to learn anything than to be educated in it, to know how it works. So we're going to talk about what is measured in your credit score. So this is funny because I was talking to a friend about this channel and what's coming next and what's my next series going to be, and I told him credit, and he was like, oh, that's cool, it's good to know, because it seems so ambiguous. It's not like there's 5 different categories that make up your credit score. So here are the 5 things that make up your credit score. Credit inquiries and new lines of credit make up 10% of your credit score. This is measuring how often are you needing to borrow money. If it's happening very often, then it's going to look to a lender like you're not managing your money well, and maybe you shouldn't be getting this new loan. But there's a difference between inquiries. There's soft inquiries and hard inquiries. A soft inquiry is you looking at your own credit score. You will never be flagged for you looking at your own credit score. I repeat, you will never be flagged for you looking at your own credit score. A hard inquiry is when a creditor is checking into your score. These fall off about every 2 years. This one's funny because people will legit put their life on hold just so they don't have to do another inquiry. Like, if they need to get a loan for something, they might wait half a year just because they don't want to ruin their credit score by having this one extra inquiry on their account. That's just not how it works. If all else is excellent on your credit report and you have 20 new inquiries, then you can still have an excellent credit score. That's just inquiries though. So if you open 3 new lines of credit in a 3-month span, then that's just not sexy. It doesn't look sexy to the creditors because then it looks like you're overextending yourself and you maybe can't bear much more than what you already have. So the suggestion is to have 0 hard inquiries to have an excellent credit score, but to have 1 to 2 to have good in this category. Next is your credit mix or your total credit accounts. This is another 10% of your credit score. This is looking at how many different types of accounts have you had or do you have open at this present time and how well you have managed them. So if you have only 1 to 5 accounts open, you may not be able to fully utilize a full 850 credit score because there's not a lot of variation in between the different types of loans or different types of credit cards that you've had open, and they can't really get a good picture of your full history. It's recommended that you have over 20 accounts, past and present combined, to reflect as excellent in this category. But again, this is a low factor and it won't hurt you significantly if, say, you only have 10 accounts. Length of history represents 15% of your total credit score. This is measuring how long have you been able to maintain an open credit line, which is also measuring how long have you been fiscally responsible. This is looking only at open lines of credit. So it's looking at the longest open line of credit and the shortest open line of credit because it's looking at the average of all your open lines of credit that you've had in your history. The longer your average, the longer it seems you've been responsible. So it's recommended to have over 9 years of average open credit lines to be considered excellent in this category. So if you have a lot of new lines of credit, then it's going to be more difficult for you to have any positive impact from this category anytime soon. Credit utilization is 30% of your total credit score. This is looking at how much credit you have to your name and your revolving credit ratios. This is a good time to explain the difference between revolving or open-ended credit and closed-ended credit. Revolving credit is a continuous line of credit that you have the freedom to spend as much or as little credit as open to you, but you have a maximum limit that you cannot exceed. Closed-ended credit has set terms and conditions that are agreed upon by the lender and the borrower when opening that line of credit. There's no deviation from that, and you will only be making payments. Revolving, or again, open-ended credit is like your credit card. It fluctuates up and down what you pay based off of what you spent. Whereas closed-ended is going to be a loan. So everything that you've agreed upon up front is going to be what you pay back every month. However, this category largely looks at revolving credit, and in order to get your credit utilization, you have to do a little calculation. First, you have to add up all of your available credit, then add up all of your actual used credit, and then divide your actual used credit by your available credit, and that will give you your percentage. So it's ideal to keep that percentage under 30%, which is what's recommended by industry experts. But in order to have excellent credit in this category, you will need to keep that utilization under 10%. But it does also look at all of your credit lines open. So it looks at your closed-ended and your open-ended. But where that line is drawn, it's not very clear. So consider this. Raul and Esperanza have the same exact credit history and data, except Raul has $25,000 auto loan, whereas Esperanza does not. So who would fare better? At this moment, probably Esperanza. But Raul may have the opportunity to fare better long term, as you'll see in the next category. On-time payments makes up 35% of your total credit score. This one's pretty simple and pretty self-explanatory. Are you going to be making your payments, and are you going to be making them on time? When lenders are looking at your score, they're looking at how many times have you paid late. If you've paid any of them late, how will you pay on time what you have agreed upon with us? This category has the least room for error. If you want to be excellent in this category, then you have to have 100% of payments on time. That means if you have 100 payments to make, if you miss less than 3 on time, then you will have under 97% and your credit score will significantly suffer. I made one late payment over 3 years ago with over 400 payments in my history, and my score is still at 99%. Bills that go into collections and derogatory marks from creditors also go into this category. Derogatory marks hit even harder than missing a payment. But what's worse is that for any of this to go away, it takes 7 to 10 years before you can see this expunged from your history. So a few notes to take away from this. Pay attention that the last 2 categories that I mentioned makes up 65% of your score. So if you're trying to grow your score, pay attention to those 2 categories mostly. Notice that I didn't say anything about your income. There's a myth that rich people have better credit scores, when in actuality, rich people don't have much reason to borrow anything, if at all. So they don't really need credit, nor do they need a good credit score. Really, somebody who makes less money has more opportunity to have a better credit score because they may be borrowing money more. It's not really about how much you make, it's about not spending more than you make. And you really don't know that until you make a budget. Click the banner to hit that. Also note that if you have bad or no credit, then it's going to take a while to build up to good and excellent credit. I'm talking many years. There are ways to grow your score faster, but many of those aren't significant changes in growth. There are many loops and hoops to jump through to grow your credit score, but here is one secret surefire way to grow your score. If you hit the like button, then this video and this channel can grow, and it costs you nothing. With understanding how credit is measured, I hope it's helpful for you to be able to focus on where you need to grow your score if you so desire. There are so many different things to credit that I can't cover in just this one video, so I will continue to make more. But if you want to know more specific questions, just ask me in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. Like, share with somebody you love, leave comments, and subscribe if you want to grow with me. Deuces.
Is the elephant heavy? I'm coming back, baby.